terminate this call if you don't let me speak.
So it's all right for you to speak, but not me.
You've been speaking over the top of me all the way through this conversation.
And so the fuck have you, Ross? Okay guys, so we've just listened to the phone call between me and Brent, and then he's got another call coming in, and this is from the area commander of PARAM. So he was only expecting you know, a supervisor, but he ended up getting him instead. And in the background is Crown Law in the background with the police officer. And Brent explains in the chase-up call, which is going to be played after this one, what was going on in the background, but I couldn't quite pick it up, and I've tried to enhance the audio so it's louder, but unfortunately that's about as good as I can get it. So, but anyway, this is the phone call between Brent and the area commander of PARAM, Ross. Not sure if this guy is Ross, but either way, just got to type in Ross NZ Police into Google and up pops him. So anyway, here's the phone call. Tell me what you think. I'm going to butt in here, hopefully seldomly, so we'll see how we go.
Hello?
Yeah, could I speak to Brent, please?
Speaking.
Yes, Police Infringement Bureau. My name is Ross. I'm the team leader. You've asked for a supervisor.
Yes, because I've got a reminder notice in respect of infringement notice. Now, on it says the enforcement authority shown above alleges that you committed an infringement. Further down, where it says penalty for offence, it says you must pay the infringement fee within 28 days, and it gives a date for it to be paid. I went on and I had a look at where it says on, and the guys told me this is generically on all notices. It says this is an offence under the Land Transport Act, Section 40. Right? Section 40 clearly says that if you contravene something, that under subsection 2, that if you're convicted upon it, then you will have to pay a penalty, which is that's pretty clear to me. I'm in the other part where it says Offences and Penalties Regulations 1999, Regulations 3 and 4. They lead you through to Schedule 1, which gives you the offence provisions and penalties. Now, under the Land Transport Act 1998, there is no Section 40 for any type of penalties to be given. So what I said to him was, look, I understand that the Road User Rule 5.1.1 says that, okay, if there's a signpost to speed limit, you must stick to that. I said, but this ticket says on it that I was doing 112 k's. But
That's not what you said to the officer. That's not what you said to the officer.
Sorry, what was that?
That's not what you said to the officer. You said that there's some high court ruling and you're going to get off the ticket.
That's right, I did say that.
You did say that.
Yes.
So what's the high court ruling? Can you give me the case, please?
No, I said it was a Supreme Court one where they talked about mens rea, okay, and it had just...
Give me the case. Sorry, can you give me the case so I can look it up?
Um,
I'm at a disadvantage if I don't know the case because you know what legalese is.
Yep.
And I'd like to look at the case.
Yep.
So if you could put that in writing through to tickets and police,
Yep.
we will then put it through to our section that deals with legislative stuff, because what you're doing is you're doing an alleged defence in relation to the propriety of the legislation.
Yep.
That's not to say that you weren't speeding at the time, but you're doing a technical defence.
Yep.
Now, if you're doing a technical defence, it will more than likely go to court. But if we have information beforehand that in fact there is a Supreme Court, but there's no Supreme Court in New Zealand, that in fact you may be onside.
He did say there's no Supreme Court in New Zealand. Let's check on that one.
We would have to do investigation, and that cannot be done over the phone.
Did you say there's no Supreme Court in New Zealand?
But there's no Supreme Court in New Zealand. But there's no Supreme Court in New Zealand.
Did you say there's no Supreme Court in New Zealand?
I said there is a Supreme
Okay.
Court in New Zealand.
Okay. So
So what I'm saying is that you're using a technical defence,
Yep.
and it's something we're not going to argue over the phone.
Mhm.
It's something whereby it's a defence whereby if you've got a rightful claim, then you're entitled to it.
Yep.
But we would have to do investigation in relation to it. And as I said, you haven't got the particular Supreme Court one offhand. So
Mhm.
I'm at a huge disadvantage
Yep.
because I don't know about it.
Okay, well, what I said to the officer on the day, that is correct. However, what I'm saying from this document, okay, is without even going that far.
If it's a technical,
Now, just take note. How many times does Ross interrupt Brent while Brent's trying to explain something?
again, if it's a technical defence and you're saying that the thousands upon thousands of notices have been sent out are wrong,
Yep.
It's exactly what he's saying. They're all fraudulent, and to put too fine a point on it, pretty sure he says he's not legally trained, and yet he was a prosecutor for the police. So does that mean that the police have not untrained legal prosecutors? You know, perhaps they've done a little booklet course on the law. It's ridiculous. And he's, anyway, I'll carry on.
Yep.
then you can quote that, and then you can actually get some clarification in relation to that. Again, please put it in writing, because if we have to put it right, we'd obviously like to know, and we're not going to fix it over the phone.
And the reason he wants it in writing is because all of this crap exists in a two-dimensional form, on pieces of paper, words on paper that mankind believe they're bound to follow. You know, words are weapons, sharper than knives. So, yeah, you know, that's why he wants it in writing, and perhaps because he's getting a bit on and doesn't take down notation very well. We'll see that in the coming minutes.
Okay. So what happens to this ticket in the meantime? Because
It sits there at the present time until the 9th of October, until that's the final due date. So you're going to have to write in fairly promptly with all of your thing, with your Supreme Courts, etc., and put it through for clarification, because I'm not waiving it on the grounds that I don't know that particular legislation, and also that court case that you're referring to.
so
Okay, so he wants Brent to write in. Brent has now, just like anyone else with a speeding ticket, has got a fraudulent document issued by the New Zealand police in his midst, and they're just going to keep it rolling. Are you grasping what's going on? At the end of this part, guys, I'm going to show you and supply the links to all of the documentation from the New Zealand police budget for the last 26 years, and since 1998, since the onset of the Land Transport Act. And you're going to see exactly how much money they've been getting in for their Crown revenue for the last 26 years. Just take a guess as to how much. Your jaw will drop.
So even just from the Land Transport Act Section 40, right?
I'm not arguing with that. As I said, you're bringing up another technical defence.
Oh, and the other thing is he's saying, send me all of this case law, all of this blah, 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 blah. It's not up to the Police Infringement Bureau. They've issued the fraud. He's now made them aware of it. They have no more plausible deniability anymore. And they want him to let them know all of the issues. No, what he should be doing is what he carries on about in this particular phone call. But we could also request a hearing, because if you don't request a hearing, it'll go automatically over to a notice of a proceedings. Well, at least it should do. They try all sorts of dirty tactics, like sending, you know, those notices of hearing to a previous address they haven't used in 15 years type shit. This is what they do. But yeah, once he's requested a hearing, then he can let the court decide about the error in law. As he's just said, he's the head supervisor and he's not legally trained. So, you know, is that the blind leading the blind, is it? He's supposed to, it's all how he interprets legislation and not how the court interprets it.
What I'm saying to you, okay, is even without the Supreme Court power, your regulations don't allow for the fine to be issued.
Again, put it in writing, please, because you're bringing up a fact that would have to go through our legal section.
Okay, can I get your QID?
Yes, RYE634.
Oh wait, 634. Just so that I can put in here who I spoke to.
Here's Ross.
How do you know about QIDs?
How do I know? Because I'm a self-representer all the way through to the Supreme Court.
And he knows me. QID is their epaulet 4-digit shoulder number. Like his would be E634 would be on his epaulets. But it's usually the first and last initial beforehand is the full 6-digit QID. And as you can see, once you have their 6-digit QID, you have their email contact. Okay, also if you know their first and last name, it's first.lastname@police.govt.nz. So, you know, it's pretty common and pretty simple. But how does he know about QIDs? Well, I wonder. Anyway.
What? What?
Self-representer, I don't use a lawyer.
So you act for yourself, in other words?
Yes.
It's called a self-representing litigant, a lay litigant, self-representer. This guy, area commander, 33 years in the force, even longer. And he's not familiar of what a self-representing litigant is or a self-representer is. Goes to show the level of knowledge that Brent's dealing with here.
Yes, that's why as soon as I saw this ticket, that's why I decided, right, it's got these different acts on them. Let's make sure that they are complying with their own legislation to find out, no, you guys are not.
And Brett's fucking brilliant at going through things with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, he blows me out of the water with what he can find out, and then the correct pathways to deal with it. Truly an amazing man. Great mind.
Because under the penalty part...
Can I actually say something?
Mm-hmm.
After 43 years with Ministry of Transport and Police, it's the first time I've heard this been raised.
Well, that's probably because everybody uses lawyers, and lawyers, as far as I'm concerned, like a...
Everybody uses lawyers. I was an ex-prosecutor in Portrush for many years.
Okay, well...
I think I know a little bit about law.
Yep.
He thinks he knows a little bit about the law, yet he doesn't know what a self-representer is. No, clearly, Ross, your knowledge is just all-encompassing.
Raising, sir, again, I will repeat myself, is a technical defence that you're querying that the law is incorrect.
That's right.
Because you're querying that, it would have to go to somebody like one of our people. It could even go to Crown Law.
Yep.
But not at my level.
I'm aware of that. I'm just pointing out.
I'm not a trained lawyer.
All I'm pointing out is
I'm not a trained lawyer, and yet he just admitted being an ex-prosecutor for the police. What does that tell you?
okay, is you guys have got X on this actual document, okay, and when you go to that particular, like I looked it up, offences and provisions, okay, and it says the Land Transport Act 1998, and it gives you the sections that are covered, and it says maximum penalty on conviction.
I'm hearing you, but I said I'm taking no action on it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you are taking any action. What I'm saying to you is this, okay, the provision under the Land Transport Act Section 40 is missing from the provisions for penalties. Therefore, a fine cannot be issued.
Simple, sums it up in one fell sentence. It refers to a section in law on the ticket that has no force or effect because it's not listed in the schedule. Pretty fucking simple, Ross. Let's see how long it takes Brent to get this through to him. Or even explain the actual act, which he thinks he knows a little bit about the law. Really? You'd think he'd know about his own Land Transport Offences and Penalties Regulations 1999, or the Road User Rules 2004, or the Land Transport Act 1998, or the Policing Regulations 2008, or the Policing Act 2008, and so on, and so on, and so the fuck on.
It's an error in law.
It's an error in law. Hold on a second.
If you look it up yourself, you'll see that.
Right now he's saying, hold on a second. He's quietly talking to this other guy. That's why he starts to sound like he's getting frustrated, because he's He says, I'm trying to do two things at once here. It's because he's having two separate conversations with Crown Law in the background on the other line listening in. Do you think Brent got told anything about a third party listening in at the phone call to begin with? Nope.
See that?
Can you just give me a minute, please? You're talking over me every single time I'm trying to cut in here, and I'd like some respect both ways.
You're talking over me every time I'm trying to cut in here. Freudian slip much?
Okay.
Okay. So you're looking at section what?
I'm looking at the Land Transports Offences and Penalties Regulations 1991. 1999, sorry.
Sorry. You on the team? Okay. It keeps on talking to the top of me as well, and that's why.
Yep.
He keeps on talking over the top of me, and that's why he's explaining himself to Crown Law. He's not actually talking to Brent there.
Okay, give me the piece of legislation you're discussing, please.
Yes, Land Transport.
And give me time so I can write it down, please.
Okay.
Hold
Good God. He might be related to Joe Biden, this one.
on. The Land Transport Act, yes?
Yeah, the Land Transport, in brackets, Offences and Penalties, close the brackets, Regulations 1999.
Section
It refers you to Regulations 3 and 4, and
3 and 4.
they take you to, that refers you to Schedule 1.
What's this section of the Act, please?
It's not a section, it's Regulation 3 and 4.
The Land Transport Act.
Land I'm trying to let you know, there's a land transport.
Regulations in an Act.
No, that's right. There's a separate piece of legislation on the ticket that says Land Transport Regulations 1999, and it has in brackets.
Hold on, again, you're talking over the top of me, sir, please. The Land Transport
Regulations
Regulations
1999.
1999 will stop you there. Stop.
Yep.
Okay? Yeah, apparently.
Let me just say that in brackets between transport and regulations.
Hold on, again, please. I'm just trying to do something here
Okay.
as well. I'm trying having a two-way conversation with you, which is very difficult because you keep on talking over the top of me.
Okay.
So what you're looking at then is the Offences and Penalties Act.
Well, it's called Land Transport one, yeah.
Hold on. The Land Transport Offences and Penalties Regulations 1999. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay, and which section?
It says Regulations 3 and 4.
Regulations 3 and 4.
Oh my God, he finally got through that. It's like pulling fucking teeth. Here we are. I'm showing you what these are, in case he has trouble looking it up.
Offences and Penalties.
Yes.
It's exceeding 100 Ks, or exceeding a speeding ticket. Breach of provision specified in the first column of Schedule 1 and is an offence against the Act.
Yeah.
The person who commits an offence referred to itself. It's alright, I'm reading it
Oh,
out
okay.
myself. Rival. Okay. Now,
43 years. Again, you should know it off by heart, Ross. It's a very common regulation. It's on every speeding ticket.
So I went to Schedule 1.
hold on again. Could you stop talking over the top of me, please?
Good fucking God. Take some fucking relaxation fucking pills, boy. Jesus, Ross. Sounds like you need to retire.
You just won't let me try to help you here because every time I try to look at stuff to help you, you talk over the top of me. So please, I'll bring up the notice numbers, Victor 3615708. I'm dealing with another person here as well. And his name's Brent.
He just breached Brent's privacy by telling someone else who's not a party to the conversation Brent's name. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Ross, you did that on record. A breach of the Privacy Act.
E9790 100 kilometres an hour. Yeah. Do you want to write this down, Brent?
Yep.
The Land Transport Act 1990, Section 40.
Yep.
Now, you notice I don't think Brent picked up on that, but he says, do you want to write this down, Grant? And then he recites the same legislation that he just got Brent to tell him. So he's actually telling Grant, my guess is who's from Crown Law, on the other side of the phone call, and Brent's not picked up on that.
Offences and Penalties Regulation 1999, Regulations 3 and 4
Yep.
of the Road User Rule and Road User Rule 2004.
Yep. That's all on the ticket. Yep.
Yes. It's never been issued. Yeah, I know.
See? Just very faintly you can hear the guy on the other phone call talking to him. Brent can hear it a bit better from the phone.
Okay. Alright, so what it is, put it in writing and request a hearing.
So, because they've used legislation that they shouldn't use, I have to make this request.
Yes, you do, because you're going to have to prove it in court in front of a judge.
No. He doesn't have to prove fuck all in court. The burden of proof is solely on the prosecution's shoulders in the criminal offence. He does not have to prove jack shit. He can bring up errors in law and parts of his defence if he wants to, but he doesn't have to prove anything. But that just goes to show how things really happen as far as the cop's perspective is concerned. Right?
The last time I looked at this notice, it says you guys alleged, not me.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, we allege it, but we're saying that you are guilty of that offence, or it's alleged. What it is if you want to deny the charge, which you're perfectly entitled to do, then you actually have a not guilty case to raise your case.
So the reason, I'm just going to butt in, sorry for the interruptions, the reason why Brent should just file a quick, request for a hearing is because if he does nothing, it'll go through that process, and if for some reason he doesn't get the paperwork or documents or whatever, it'll just automatically find him guilty, because silence is acquiescence. If you don't respond to it, you're accepting it. So, pretty simple, really. That's how everybody gets found guilty if they don't appear. It's because he who leaves the battlefield first loses. Alright? So anyway, moving on.
Okay. So what you're telling me is I've got to request a hearing.
Correct.
If that's the case, I might as well just take it into the High Court, because this is,
You should know, excuse me, you should know the legislation.
Yep.
Brent should know the legislation. It took him 4 fucking minutes just to get one part of legislation into Ross's head so he could write it down. Isn't this typical democratic ways, blaming the other party for doing the exact thing that they're actually doing?
It goes to the district court first, then if it's appealed, it then goes to the High Court, and if it's appealed, it goes to the Supreme Court.
How would he know? He's not legally trained. He shouldn't be giving Brent legal advice now, should he?
If you're seeking a declaration, it doesn't.
No, okay, well, as I said, you're raising all these facts. If you want to take it as far, but the first thing you've got to do, sir, seriously, is request a court hearing.
Well,
on that, I agree with him. Requesting a hearing is therefore giving a response. You have every right to under Section 21(6) of the Summary Offences Act 1957 to do it, and that way Make them earn their $30 or $130 court costs. It's real simple.
I mean, I'm looking at this document.
And I can do that for you right away.
Oh, he can do that for him right away. I wonder if, like in my one, I've actually got an email correspondence between me and the New Zealand Police Infringement Bureau where they're telling me that I have to tell them what my plea is, otherwise I won't get a hearing. They would assume that I am guilty and treat it as such. That's what they said to me in email correspondence. But that's coming up in future releases. It's a doozy.
Okay, well, if you're going to go ahead and do that, you can do that, but I'm also going to file in the High Court because this document is being used for deception.
Deception. There you go. Section 240 of the Crimes Act, 1961. Obtaining by deception or causing loss by deception. They're telling you you must pay for something that's only alleged, and in legislation it states you're only liable upon the conviction. So they're jumping the gun. And the difference is because it's an infringement fee before it hits the court process, then it becomes a fine. Alright? It's just an offer. It's up to you if you want to accept what they're saying and pay and all the rest. Moving on. There's 240 of the Crimes Act for you.
This document is being used for deception. There is an allegation, and there's no reason to pay because it says it.
I'm going to end this, Brenda, with respect to end the conversation.
Okay.
We've been talking for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Oh, God forbid, 10 minutes, has he?
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. So what we are at the moment is I'm going to send information back to you to say that the actual your request has, as I said, in relation to this matter, if you want a court hearing, you requested, we'll oblige you.
Okay. Well, then I won't request it. I'll just take it straight to the High Court because.
But then it'll just drop straight into fines collection, and then it'll become a court's matter. So as I said, this matter here has to go.
It goes into fines collection because it ceases to be a fee. It's passed to the courts, becomes a fine, and then they can use enforcement tactics to recover the debt.
To court if you wish it, and as I said, we're going to follow protocol, and unless you actually request a court hearing, you will not get a court hearing.
That's fine. I'll just have to deal with it differently.
Okay, so you can. So what do you want me to write on file here? Because if it's not paid by the 9th of October, it's going to drop into fines collections. What worries me there is we're going to have this conversation again.
Why would it drop into fines collection when it's an allegation?
Because you get 56 days to pay.
Yep.
You get 20.
Because silence is acquiescence.
28 days for the original notice. You get 28 days to police to knock around and knock in people's doors and ask for money. That's a court's function.
That may be a court's function. Yes, I do know that, but my point on the matter is it's an allegation.
So what I'm saying, after 56 days,
Mm-hmm.
if we do not receive information that has either been paid or, in fact, you request a court hearing, it falls into fines collection and becomes part of fines collections. It moves away from police.
So what you're saying is then it also becomes extra cost. Is that what you're saying?
That's up to the court, but there could be $30 extra costs, or if you request a court hearing, it's $130, yes.
Okay, well, neither of those costs.
So he's saying if it goes to the courts, you might get $30 court costs, or if you request a hearing, it'll be $130. That's a lie. How do I know? Because I've requested many hearings over the last 10 to 12 years, and I've never been hit with the $130 court cost yet. It's all only been $30. So right there, he's misleading Brent again. But that's a common error in their minds.
Possibly to be paid because it clearly says maximum penalty upon conviction.
Again, you're bringing up stuff which is complicating the matter. I'll make it simple. You can either pay the fine, and if you don't want to pay the fine, send us an email to ticket@police.govt.nz, state that you want the hearing, and we will oblige you.
Okay, that's fine. And just so you guys are aware, just like how you guys record calls, I have recorded this call today.
That's fine. Well, as I said,
That's
it
fine.
falls back to, you should have told me that at the beginning.
Don't need to.
Oh, so it's not fine?
There's no need to. I'm a party to the conversation.
Yes.
So if you guys know the
That's him backtracking and having second thoughts about what he's just said.
law, like you say, you should know that under the Privacy Act.
No, I never said that.
Don't be argumentative, Ross.
For goodness sake, you're twisting things around. What
He's not twisting jack shit.
I said to you, and I hope this is recorded,
Yep.
is the fact that I'm not a lawyer.
Yep.
And
I'm not a lawyer. Here we are. Caveat getting added there in the last minute, but he'd already said that to us before he started giving us all sorts of legal advice.
the fact is that you are a self-appointed lawyer, or what's the...
No. It's an offence to call yourself a lawyer when you aren't one. Brent never, ever says that he's a lawyer, nor does he give legal advice. He can happily make suggestions all day long, though.
that effect,
Yep.
that in fact you deal with your own matters. And I said is that if there is a matter which involves a technical defence, I don't know the answer to it. I do not know the case law that you're going to the Supreme Court. I do not know the validity of what you're saying. So
You don't know fuck all much, really, do you, Ross?
I've asked you to put all that in writing.
Yep,
And
you
I've
have.
said that several times.
Yes, you have. And
That's where we're at.
And I'll clarify the fact that I've also turned around and stated that what is on your documents that you are sending out to people is fraud and extortion because the section is not within the Offence and Provisions Act. So on that part of it,
Offences, he means land transport offences and penalties regulations, 1999, by the way.
on that part of it, there is no ability to find the person. It's an error in law. And if the New Zealand police,
Speak again. I'm going to terminate this call if you don't let me speak.
so it's all right for you to speak, but not me.
You've been speaking over the top of me all the way through this conversation.
And so the fuck have you, Ross?
Are you forgetting that the call's recorded and that it's obvious to see as well that you've done exactly the same to me? I stopped and I gave you the ability to talk while you were speaking to someone else.
Thank you for that. What I'm
You're fucking welcome. Sarcastic. Shit.
saying is that it's now in your hands, it always has been. Pay the fine or request a court hearing.
Well, technically speaking, it's not in my hands because the fact that there's a fraudulent document that should never have been issued.
And how's that going to get resolved?
How's it going to get resolved? A declaration.
And from the High Court that he has every right to take that pathway.
Declaratory judgment. Because New Zealand police can't keep going around finding people and expecting people to just accept the fact that it's not within these...
Who writes the legislation? New Zealand police doesn't write it.
Who enforces it?
That's done by the Parliament.
No, it's not. When your officer issued...
So he thinks Parliament is the one that enforces the legislation. So what are policy enforcement officers doing then? I mean, police.
issued the ticket, he is enforcing it.
Parliament that actually sets the legislation. Police do not go out and actually make legislation.
I didn't say police will make legislation. I said they enforce it.
Now who's twisting things, Ross?
Correct.
That's right. So for the police officer to send this out, it was to give me a ticket and you guys to send me out this infringement notice, you're trying to enforce something that doesn't exist because of an error in law, but you won't accept that. If you look at your own law that you're quoting, you can see it's not there. It's an error in law.
Excuse me, I've got another job to do at the present time, so I think I've made myself perfectly clear. In conclusion, I will say you have got the option of either paying the fine or requesting a court hearing in writing, and you can raise all of those facts in front of the judge, or if you want to go to the Supreme Court, that's your option. But at this stage, the notice has not been waived. Okay, thank you.
Okay, another report. Thank you. Bye.
Wow. So, that was the phone call between Ross, the area commander of Pararua, New Zealand Police, and little old Brent. So, yeah. Next up, we'll play the call back that Brent gave me. We'll make that part 3, and at the end of part 3 I'm going to give you the answer as to how many. We could say thousands or millions. How much money do you think they've made in 26 years? Because even if they take it offline, I've downloaded all of their. It's called the New Zealand Police vote. It's not a budget. It's called a vote, and a certain percentage of vote will go to road policing. Another percentage goes to the United Nations drug. We pay 100 million a year to United Nations. Did you know that? Just for their drug policies to help their enforcement. How about helping out your own citizens? But anyway, I will leave you to it, guys, and yeah, I'll see you very, very shortly.